Hey, this is Matt Bachand from Shadows Fall and Living Wreckage. You're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studio is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on X at No Shock Pod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Big Strix Vinyl Records and Sports Cards, located in Rock Island, Illinois. New, vintage, and previously owned. You can find it at Big Strix. We would like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Matt Bachand of Living Wreckage.
And Shadows Fall, promoting Living Wreckage and their new single, Righteous Side of Sanity. Fantastic interview, man. Let's get to it.
All right, good night.
Good night. Matt, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you, my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Matt, thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course, no worries.
Hey, we're excited to have you. Let's get right into this here. So Living Wreckage recently released the band's newest single, Righteous Side of Sanity. Can you talk a little bit more about the songwriting and creation behind this new track?
Well, that track's been floating around for quite some time. We're always writing, especially John and LeBret, and they're just always writing. There's riffs everywhere. So I mean, even now with almost another full length done, we have probably a whole another full length's worth of material written musically. Anyway, it's nonstop. But it was one of those ones we've had sitting around for a long time that we had tried to pick away at with our previous vocalist, and it was just nothing really kind of gelled with that. And when we gave these tracks to Sage to get writing on some stuff, that was one of the earlier ones that he came back with, and it was really great. And it felt like the right song to introduce the world to him as far as being a new vocalist.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question, we talk to a lot of artists where like we take it from their perspective of trying to audition for a band. I don't know that we've ever asked a band about auditioning like a new singer. Can you talk a little bit about that process and finding Sage?
Well, it's actually really funny. It just kind of randomly happened because we knew we didn't really 1,000% know we were going to be looking for someone right away, but we definitely did because we were just having some issues, and we love Jeff to death. He's a great dude. Just didn't kind of gel together with the project, Mm-hmm. And so we had a show book that like pretty much the night before he was really, really sick and just couldn't pull it together, and we had to do something, whether that was play as a 4-piece and for me to do a lot of the singing or whatever it happened to. Just we couldn't really get out of it, and we just happened to be at the same place the night before. John was doing a celebrity bartending thing, and Sage was doing that as well at the same place, and he got up there and sang some Skid Row karaoke or something, and John's like, "Who the hell is that guy?" He just nailed it. And I had known him a little bit before that. I had a cover band that played with him a few times, and basically we said, "Hey man, do you know any of these tunes?" Because we didn't do any original stuff that night. It was just covers because it's really all we could pull off last minute. Because we used to do like 2-hour bar gigs just to kind of raise money to make the record, so we would do whatever originals we had and then a bunch of covers just to fill the night out. And so we just asked, "Hey, what do you know of these songs that we know?" And he picked a few, and then I called another buddy of mine who's in another local cover band, and they split the night to be between the two of them just to get through the gig.
Oh, cool.
And then we were always like, maybe this is our guy, So it just kind of fell into place like that.
Oh, so cool. Well, you've worked with some big-time heavy metal vocalists, and can you compare Sage's vocals to the other frontmen that you've collaborated with over the years?
Well, this is kind of new territory for Sage, just being that this is kind of the heaviest stuff that he's really ever done. He does a lot of country kind of stuff, he's all over the place.
Right.
And this is really, really different for him. So it's interesting to challenge him to be like, all right, let's see where we can go with this. And I think he likes challenging himself about where can he take his voice? What can he do with it? And I really like that kind of clean slate, because you don't really, someone's not going into it just like, all right, this is what I sing like, and this is how it is. This is completely new territory for him. So we're getting really interesting stuff because he's never done it before. Now, it does open a lot of doors too for us to really keep things varied as far as the variety that we're putting out there, what style we want to do, what we want to be. We don't have to live in a box and say, well, it's only a screaming guy, or it's only a singing guy, or it's this and that. It's a little bit of everything, which is exactly what we want.
That's so cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talk about the band's approach to, I think you had a video that also goes along with Righteous Side of Sanity. Can you talk about, you guys' approach to making promotional videos, and is there a particular person you work with?
No, that was all very last minute. Just a lyric video. So just to have something on, YouTube or something, just to have the song out there. So we really didn't have a budget for anything. We really couldn't explore that much. And I forget exactly who even knew the guy, but someone knew someone who did lyric videos, cheap. And it was just all right, let's do this because we don't have a choice, just so we could have some content.
Sure.
Down the road, we're going to, get a little more elaborate with those things, and once we have budgets and things to work with. But right now, Sage had been in the band for over 2 years at this point, so we really just wanted to get some material out there with him so people could hear that, because anything recorded, they're hearing the old singer. So we really wanted to get something out there. And the fact that it's tied in with this video game that's going to be coming out in the fall, and that is already having previews and stuff launched, so the song's already there, so we want to make sure we get it out.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well, I just a follow-on question to the video. So we've talked to a lot of artists that are not necessarily comfortable in front of the camera, but how does it work for you? Is that something that no big deal? Hey, let's do it, or how does it work?
Well, this time around, we weren't in it at all. It was simply just a lyric video with some visuals. But at this point, I guess I'm used to it. I don't particularly care for being on camera. It's not really my thing. But it's been so long. I've been doing it for, over 30 years. So at this point, it's like, yeah, all right. Comes with the territory. I hate photo shoots. I don't like those. But I know they have to be done. So you suck it up and do it. Not everyone likes every day at work, right?
Exactly. With MTV not being what it was, or it's not even a thing anymore. But, music videos are not like at the forefront of, pop culture and music any longer. But on the flip side of that, is, what are your thoughts? Is it necessary for a metal band like Living Wreckage to create music videos any longer?
That's a really good question. And the landscape is changing so fast as far as how things are promoted and everything right now. Just it's moving so quick. And it's hard to tell what's even relevant anymore. Which social media platform is on top? Which, what do people gravitate towards? I think there has to be some sort of visual aspect to it. Obviously, YouTube is a big one, especially for just getting a song out there. So you need to have something that pulls you in, something like that. So I think it's important, but I don't think people are spending as much money as they did. You're not getting those, Michael Jackson $1 million videos anymore. It's
exactly.
Just not dropping money like that. But it is important to at least have some presence out there. And then that way you can, especially if you're trying to send a message with your song or whatever it is, that you have something to accompany just the music. Yeah, something to look at as well. especially with now, like, album artwork is disappearing because no one's buying records. So, like, there's got to be some visuals out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this this new collaboration with Sound System. People that are familiar with that, with Guitar Hero and other games like that. Can you talk a little bit about that collaboration of putting a track on that system?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a surprise. We're working with Marcus Henderson, who was one of the programmers and the original Guitar Hero stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, we had a song on one of their games years ago with Shadows Fall, and we always kind of stayed in touch over the years. And he contacted us about something. We sent him a few songs we had recorded and let them pick. Hey, what do you think, would work for this? And they made that choice for Righteous, and it was really that simple. But it's a really great thing, and the previews they're putting out, they look great. So I'm pretty excited to see what it turns into.
Now that is exciting. Yeah. Well, Righteous Side of Sanity was produced by Zeus, and Zeus is known for his ability to craft a polished sound in the heavy metal world. Can you talk about and give our listeners an insight to collaborating with Zeus and working with him as a producer?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just old hat, right? I think when we first started, making music, we were recording with him when he bought his first 4-track. I've known him forever. He was in local bands when I was in local bands playing, so since, late 90s, or not late 90s, late 80s, I should say. Mm-hmm. Long time ago. Doesn't seem like that long, but it has been. So we've always, been collaborating with him, and in the early Shadows stuff, and everything. So it's just comfortable. And then now we do most of the recording just at my house, because I have a little home studio that, he brings a rack of some gear over, and we just do it there. So there's no pressure. It's really, really easy. Just pick away at it as we have time. We don't, at the end of the day too, yes, it's work, but it's also supposed to be fun. And when it's too much stress, you don't get a good product out of it. So we try to really keep it relaxed and do it when we can get it done. But having someone like that who we've known forever, really helps with that, because really we're just hanging out,
Well, this modern era of all you artists now have home studios that you can record your music in, and as far as the effectiveness of using the new technology opposed to going into the old school proper studio, knocking things out together as a group, and a lot of groups now are doing it if they're emailing and Dropboxing tracks to one another. Do you feel as satisfied doing stuff out of your home in your home studio opposed to the old-fashioned way, the proper studio type stuff?
Well, I think it's a little more convenient, especially, for time, and especially for budget, so if I can't rent a studio for $1,500 a day, I can go down to my basement. Same thing. But of course, you got to know how to use the stuff too. And that's why you got to bring someone in like a Zeus or another producer who actually knows what to do. I could buy a hammer all day long, but that doesn't mean I know how to build you a house. Exactly. So all of this gear, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on gear, get top of the line, everything. If you don't know how to use it, it's useless.
Very good. Yeah.
So this new track, Righteous Side of Sanity, killer track, man. I listened to it before I did the research on you guys, and first thing I thought of was it felt like a throwback, a little bit 80s style, and that's first thing I read when I read about you guys, and really cool. What else can you say about the band's kind of the new sound?
Well, it's something that we wanted to do for a long time, but if you're going to make the really heavy sound screen stuff, we have Shadows Fall for that. We have the outlets and write the riffs and parts for that project or something else. This is meant to be more like an old Skid Row meets Pantera kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm,
so
for sure.
I mean, just kind of in your face, just dirty rock, and hopefully it's coming across that way, because that's really what we're going for. We're trying to still not keep, not have any restraints or say, well, we have to stay in this pocket or whatever, but also knowing that's kind of what we're going for.
Well, I loved it. It was great.
Very good. Living Wreckage released the band's debut album back in 2021, with Sage joining the band in 2023. Talk to us about the band's infancies without Sage on lead vocals. I know we kind of touched upon it at the beginning. We were talking a little bit about Jeff, but can you kind of compare and contrast where the band was at the beginning to where it's at now, as far as sound,
songwriting, collaborating, I guess everything all included?
Yeah, well, it's really something that John was putting together for a long, long time. And one thing at the very beginning was he wanted to have like dueling guitar solos and all this stuff, where it's not just him doing all the heavy lifting with the leads and everything. We'll be able to have that dynamic, which is where then I was like, well, I'll play bass because leads are not my thing. That's just not my wheelhouse. So that's where LeBreton came in, and Morency actually, for a while, we didn't even know he was a drummer. He was actually playing guitar for us when we were doing a cover band called Cobra Kai years ago, and he was playing guitar with us for a bit. We didn't even know he played drums. It just kind of happened. Like, really? Okay. So it just kind of organically fell into place like that. And at that time, I was doing some school stuff and whatever. I didn't have a hell of a lot of time to really focus on the band at that point. So everyone else kind of got the ball rolling, and then I kind of came in last. I was like there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, right.
It's like, you're in the band and you're doing stuff, but you're not coming to practice so I didn't. But then I did eventually. And then Jeff came from, I believe it was someone that LeBreton and Morency both knew from another project that they had known through the scene, and that's where he kind of fell into place. So that was before I kind of stepped in, full time.
Sure. And as far as when the collaborative process, but the of the beginnings of the band to where it's at now, has there been much of a difference as far as, I guess, maybe maturity in songwriting or anything like that, or has it been kind of like status quo?
It's been pretty comfortable since the beginning as far as that goes. And like I said, even some of the material we're working on now to try to finish, some of these songs are 4 or 5 years old. So there's a lot of stuff left over from the old. We really came out of the gates with a lot of material. And now we're just trying to whittle it down and see what works best. But it's a good problem to have. It's very rare when you're just sitting on a surplus of riffs. Like, what do I do with these? Usually it's, damn it, we got to come up with one more track.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't think it's changed much as far as that. Definitely get a lot more input from Sage than we did from Jeff as far as like, content, lyrics, melodies, and things like that. Definitely bounce a lot more ideas back and forth, a lot more things happening there. But for the most part, it's been pretty steady.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, can you talk about the band's approach to, do you have any upcoming tours or shows coming up this summer?
We've got a handful of dates coming up later in the summer, just kind of regionally around here. Sage had moved to Nashville, and the rest of us are up in Massachusetts. So we'll plan like some long weekends to get him out here and do those dates. But we are always, looking for opportunities. Right now, we're basically shopping a few songs to some labels. Hopefully we can get someone to pick it up and we can finish a full length and get that thing out sooner than later.
Oh, that's so cool. Outside of Living Wreckage, you're most known for your work in Shadows Fall, yet your work in Active Defiance sometimes flies under the radar for some reason. I don't understand why, but the band hasn't released any new music since 2017's Old Scars, New Wounds. Will that band ever release any new material in the near future?
I don't know. I'm certainly open to it. It's just one of those things that kind of stopped happening once Chris joined In Flames. He just was way too busy, for anything else, and that obviously had to take priority. So we just kind of stopped doing stuff. But I mean, I'm always open to something, even if it's not playing shows or whatever, just writing some music. Like I'm always open to that.
Well, very good. The thing that fascinates me about that band is I guess the heaviness of it and the pure speed of that band. It was kind of unparalleled for me listening to that band when I first heard them. Can you kind of explain the origins of sound of that band? It seems like you guys were kind of cutting edge. The first record was pretty much done when I stepped in. It was Chris and Sean pretty much writing everything. I think they split the first record probably half and half as far as songs. And then on the second record, I did write 3, I believe, songs on that one. So everyone kind of had some input there. So it was a bit more. Once we started playing with each other and getting more comfortable learning everyone's little like quirks and strengths and weaknesses, going like, "Oh, this would be great for you. This would be great for you." It all kind of came together pretty well, I think, on the second record. Oh, very good.
Well, yeah, let's talk about your other main act, Shadows Fall. You guys had a single come out in 2025, Souls Devoured. What's the current status of that band and any new music on the horizon?
There will be an album at some point. We don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but hopefully sooner than later. This year is our 30th anniversary, so we're doing a hometown show here next month.
Oh, sweet.
For that, and hopefully we can get a few more dates maybe before the end of the year. But right now, the plan is to put out a record and do whatever shows we can. We can't tour a lot simply because of people's families and jobs. And John with Anthrax and his schedule is really difficult to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's when we reactivated, because we never really broke up. We kind of just stopped doing stuff because everyone was so busy with life. After all those years, it just happens. We were just like, look, we're just going to casually do what we do when it's fun, when we have time, and it'll happen when it happens. And part-time scenario, and so that's where we're keeping it, at least for now.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
In 2018, you provided guest vocals for the song "Take It to the Cross" on Stryper's Goddamn Evil album.
It was fun.
Yeah. And probably a lot of Stryper fans nor Shadows Falls fans, maybe realize that you had guest vocals on a Stryper album. But talk a little bit more about that experience and how did it all come to you?
Well, it's funny. Michael's wife is an old friend of mine. I guess he was mentioning how he wanted some sort of like death metal vocal on this track, and she's like, I got the perfect guy. So I got the call, and they happened to be recording in the next town over for me, so it was easy. I just took a ride over there. We banged it out in an hour. It was a good time.
And that's it. There's no more to the story.
No, I mean, it's as simple as that. Is she was like, I know this guy who's perfect for the death metal voice. And I talked to Michael. I'm like, you sure this is what you want? And he's like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, all right.
Fantastic. That's an easy question to answer.
Yeah. And it just fell in my lap, and it was fun.
That's cool.
Well, let's talk about with Living Wreckage, you play bass, and with Shadows Fall, guitar. Can you talk a little bit about comparing and contrasting each instrument? Yeah,
well, anything with bass, the same way I do with Act of Defiance, the same way with Wreckage. And I try not to treat it like a 4-string guitar. I'm trying to play with the drums, which is what it's supposed to be. It's a percussion instrument, essentially. So I'm trying to play around the riff and with the song, not just playing the 4-string guitar on top of stuff. Cool. And that's really important it's better for the song than anything. And it's just, it's not adding a layer, it's adding more texture, more substance.
Yeah.
Doing it that way.
Oh, very good. Well, as we're speaking about instrumentation, let's talk a little bit more about your gear, the stuff that you use in the studio opposed to the stuff that you take on the road with you. Can you talk a little bit more about the gear that's used for the pristine studio stuff opposed to the stuff that you maybe don't have to be as gingerly with on the road?
Oh, well, as far as studio goes, I'm not really particularly picky. It's more about what, say, Zeus thinks is the best tone for the record, as a producer ear. Like, what do you think? We want it to kind of sound like this. What's going to work best for you? So we don't know, because sometimes we're recording DI tracks and then endlessly reamping things until we get the tone we want. But we've been just kind of simply using just to track stuff like Kempers and the Quad Cortex things, just to keep it simple, because we are just recording in my basement. We're not worrying about really miking up cabinets and stuff right away, because as long as we get the performance down, that's the beauty of the digital production now with the reamping, is as long as you have that performance site, you can endlessly send it through more amps and check different tones and see what feels good, because the performance is already there.
Very good.
All right. Yeah. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to pre-1996, before Shadows Fall. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the early bands and that road to kind of making it?
As far as,
it's like, because weren't you in a band called Empty back in 1996?
Oh,
yeah.
Band.
Just kind of like your pre Shadows Fall. Like what did it take to
Well, that was a totally different thing. That was more of that's like a 90s power pop, like Gin Blossoms kind of band. That's what that was. Sweet. And I'm still kind of doing that stuff, and I'm still writing that music, and I'm doing a cover band right now called Voodoo Driver that is exactly that. We're playing, Fuel and Tonic and Gin Blossoms and stuff. It's fun bar gigs, and I do a lot of solo acoustic. Yeah, a lot of solo acoustic stuff too. Just for something to do while I'm home. So that was a totally different world, but I was also in a death metal band called Exhumed back in the early 90s that just did a demo and kind of fizzled out. But other than that, and this was when John was playing in Aftershock with Adam from Killswitch. They went to high school together, and they were playing in a hardcore band, and they played with Exhumed, so we all became friends. And then him and I were like, "Hey, do you want to do a band?" And that turned into Shout Swell.
Sweet. I'm always fascinated by the early stories of what I like to hear the research of like bands just digging it out for thousands of hours on the road until they all of a sudden the magic just happens.
But to capitalize off that question that Jeff just asked you, as far as genre wise, I guess where do you feel the most at home? What genre of music do you feel most comfortable playing?
Oh, that's a really good question. Guess it depends on what mood I'm in. Obviously, the metal stuff is just, it's more often that I do that. At least with touring and stuff. But lately, since I've been home and not touring much, I'm doing a lot of solo gigs. And, some are good, some are not. But I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel there. Just go and do some covers, get paid. That's it.
Yeah.
But those are not as comfortable, because you're just kind of there, sitting in a room with 10 people standing there with their arms crossed, like, all right, impress me. So that's tricky business. But you get out there on a festival stage and you're running around like a maniac. Like that's a comfort zone. It makes you feel good.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I have one last question for you, and Matt, we'll leave you alone for the evening. So, the mystery of rock and roll. It's no longer a mystery anymore with all the social media that is out there now. There's no mystery behind Kiss or any band that had that folklore to them. For you're in the business. Do you like this new world of accessibility that we have? Because if we didn't have the internet and the social medias, we wouldn't be interviewing you right now. Or do you miss that old mystery of rock and roll?
I definitely miss that. I think only because I was there when that was a thing. You had to if you wanted that new Metallica album, you had to wait till midnight when you'd stand in line and go pick it up, before you heard anything. And now I think people are getting so comfortable with the accessibility that there's nothing special there anymore. They always expect it's like, oh, well, if I go to the concert, I have to have a meet and greet, or I got to get a picture with you because that's part of the deal. Like, well, no, it's never that. You'd never go to see Metallica in '87 and be like, oh, I have to get my picture with Hetfield because that's just part of the deal. No, it's not part of the deal. That's not. But everyone's getting really, really comfortable now. And you see it sometimes even with social media and stuff, people, sending messages to some people's accounts, to some artist accounts and they get pissed off when they don't get an immediate response or whatever. It's like, people have lives and things to do, not just answer your stupid question. Like, they're just getting too comfortable.
Exactly. 100% exactly. Well, we're out of our allotted time for the evening. Is there anything that we left off tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
No, I don't think so. Just look out for new Living Wreckage coming hopefully later this year, and also with some new Shadows Fall coming up pretty soon, hopefully too. So
fantastic.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah. This is how things are going to work out. Jeff, the editing wizard over here, will clean up all of our boogers, and then we'll sound like $1 million. Sound good?
All right, sounds great.
Matt, thank you. It was an honor to have you on tonight.
Yeah, thank you. We wish you the best.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
floodlights. Fight the grip of death. You can have the air you need, but you best not take one breath. Hey. Roll the dice. Take your chances. Everybody knows the game is fixed, there is no prize. Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you,